Welcome to another edition of 42 Straight Years In, Volume 2, Part 25. I'm a crackhead update. It's going to be 100 degrees again today in Dallas with the heat index of 109. So I doubt if any going to be out and about. But I was in the downtown area. I had parked at the McDonald's across from the Greyhound bus station, and this guy was beating this female up right out in the middle of the street in front of the Greyhound bus station. I mean, he was whooping her. Two motorcycle cops showed up in a patrol car. They didn't take him to jail. She ran and got in a car and drove off. They just talked to him and let him go. He went back and stood in front of the Greyhound bus station. He didn't go to jail. I don't know what was that all about. I was waiting on some of the bodacious keyboard warriors to intervene, as they always say. If they see a female getting assaulted, if they're going to stop it and they're going to intervene in her behalf. There's a lot of guys standing around. I didn't see not one intervene in that incident. You know what it is. Get your shanks out and let's ride. On my Patreon, my Wi-Fi is screwed up as usual, and I got to go to one of my subscribers' businesses to use his Wi-Fi to upload this video, and I'm not going to start my Patreon until I get better Wi-Fi reception. Albert Einstein once said, "There are two ways to live your life. One is though nothing is a miracle, the other as though everything is a miracle." In the Gospel of St. Thomas, one of the books that's excluded from the Holy Bible, the Gospel of St. Thomas states, "Man has everything within him to survive, and what he does not have will surely kill him." We can look at some people 80 years old, still smoke cigarettes. They don't have no cancer from smoking cigarettes. But a little baby 3 years old has cancer. If your DNA is not wired for the right thing, well, that's the thing that's going to take you out. On my story segment, it's the chilling tale of the icebox murderers. Back in the day, they didn't say refrigerators. They called it an icebox. After receiving a call for a welfare check on Fred and Edwina Rogers, two Houston police officers knocked on the front door of their Montrose home before kicking it in. Inside, one opened the fridge and discovered what he thought were stacks and stacks of hog meat. That, unfortunately, was far from the grisly reality. An article from the Amarillo Globe-Times published the next day described the scene. On all the shelves and in the freezer compartments were the dismembered bodies cut in unwrapped, washed off pieces smaller than individual joints. The officers realized what they were dealing with after they opened the crisper to find two human heads. Investigators later concluded that Edwina had been shot in the head while Fred had been beaten to death with a hammer before both were dragged in the master bathroom, drained of blood, chopped into pieces, and placed in the refrigerator. Whoever did this apparently took their time and knew what they were doing. The medical examiners on the case told the Globe-Times that the dismembering was a fairly neat job. But the next morning, police had focused on just one suspect, the couple's son, 43-year-old Charles Rogers, a recluse who only communicated with his parents via notes slipped under his bedroom door and rarely was seen by neighbors. The house had been carefully cleaned, but blood was discovered by the keyhole of his bedroom door. But the police did not get the chance to speak with Charles, who, despite a nationwide manhunt, was never seen or heard from again. He was declared legally dead. Charles was physically and emotionally abused by his parents well into adulthood, and that at the end of their lives, they were defrauding him by forging his signature on deeds of land that he owned. Charles owned the house that they all lived in, not his parents. And Edwina had apparently taken out loans on it and pocketed the money. Charles escaped to Central America, where he later died. It's a good theory, but still a theory. No one will never know for certain who killed Fred and Edwina Rogers. Now, I have met a couple guys in prison who killed their parents. I was at the East Ham unit, and we was all out on the rec yard. Quite a few of us Dallas guys, we was standing around talking, and had this young guy. Some of the younger guys out of Dallas, they all knew him. You see, man, he had big drugs on the outside, but he didn't even have toothpaste in prison. And this man only had a 3-year sentence. And he was standing around talking, telling guys, yeah, man, I got a Lexus, I got a Mercedes, and I live in a badass townhouse. I got a Rolex watch. I got all this. But he didn't have toothpaste. And he asked me, he said, hey, man, you the guy that can make things happen, man. You the guy I need to talk to. He said, I ain't got no money to pay you, but if my mother send me any money, I sure pay you for helping me out. He wanted a phone call made to his mother to send him some money. He had to give his mother all his financial information where she could hire an attorney so he won't get as much. That's why he only got a 3-year sentence, because he had a lot of money. So she had she had the account number, and so she was withdrawing his funds, and she went and got a real young guy and moved him in his townhouse. So I called his mother. After the warden leave at night, there's nobody up there in his office but me. And occasionally a guard will come through going out to the parking lot. But I got access to going in his office at night. There's no one around but me. So they'll never know that I use the telephone. I ain't got to go through the switchboard. I can call out directly. So I called his mother. And I had to play on. I can't let her know I'm an inmate in case if she called back to the prison and say, hey, I received a phone call from an inmate. Very few guys had access to a telephone. They would eventually narrow it down, or they just would have came and fired all of us who got access to telephones off our jobs. So I told her I was the unit chaplain. And I was calling in regards to her son who was at that prison. And he wanted her to send him some money so he can get him commissary and get his basic necessities, his hygiene items. And she told me, she said, you tell that boy he just do his time. They feed him 3 meals a day. He don't need nothing. I say, but he don't even have toothpaste. Oh, he can borrow from some of his homeboys. I ain't got time to deal with him. And she said a couple more little rude statements and hung up. So the next day, I seen him on the rec yard. I told him the exact word for word, verbatim what was said. And he made this statement. He said, man, my mama is fine and pretty as hell. He said, I swear, when I get out of this motherfucking prison, he said, I'm going to kill her ass. See, first I'm going to tie her up and torture her. He said, then I'm going to have sex with her. Then I'm going to kill her. He said, most likely I'll be back. I'll be damn about another year that he was back. Life sentence, killing his mother. And in another case, I was at the Cofield unit, and this young guy had made parole. He only had a 4-year sentence. He had did a little over a year. They gave him parole. And his mother had came visit him. And he had told his mother, tell the parole officers that I paroled to your house. He said, I'm not going to stay there. I just need your address to get released. I'm going to move in with my girlfriend. I'm not going to live at your house. So she agreed to it. When the parole officers went and talked to her, she said, no, he cannot live at my house. So the unit parole officers called him out and say, hey, that address didn't work. You need to provide us with another address. Now he got to rack his brain, try to find somebody that he know on the outside, use the U.S. mail, which is slow as hell. Most people do not read mail and letters and all that. It's all about emails and text messages. Most people do not read regular mail. And he eventually found someone to agree to accept him. He made the same statement. He said, my mother kept me in this prison. He said, I'm killing her ass when I get out of here. He said, I'm going to party, get high, have me sex with many females as I can, and I'm going to kill her. He did the same thing. Came back, 99-year sentence. You know, most people will screw you over. They don't worry about the consequences, or they think it's going to be no consequences. Some people do not accept being royally screwed. When you look a person right in their eyes and tell them a bald-faced lie, and all their future is based on your response, and you know you're lying instead of just telling them the truth. Hey, man, you can't come to my house. I'm not going to tell parole that. But I'll go look for somebody else, and maybe they'll allow you to use their address. But you ain't going to use my address. She specifically told him that he can use her address. And for faking and shaking, that got her killed. In another situation, this guy, he was from Sugar Land. Now, his mother, they had a lot of money. His mother would screw him over, so he got mad, killed his mother, father, and his sister. Now, it was a big uproar in the Houston paper because they gave him the insurance proceeds, even though he was the murderer. And he had over $200,000 in his inmate account. And they tried to sue him and get the money back. That wasn't happening. But, you know, I met a lot of guys, I can't say they are messed up because they live in life through their eyes. You got to live your life according to your philosophy. Yeah, you're not in this world to agree with everyone else. Society say certain things is wrong, certain things are right. It might be vice versa to you. What's right to the majority of people might be wrong to you. You know, I learned that on at an early age in prison. Do counter to whatever those guys do. If all of them agree on one thing, you can bet it's damn near wrong. Because they successful to a suggestion. They don't investigate nothing, or they don't have knowledge of it. Most guys in an institution will speak as he got all the knowledge in the world. And they reject anything that they don't know about it. If they little pea-brain ass can't think of it, well, it's a bad idea. Anyway, enough ranting and raving. I got to get over here and get this video uploaded. The older you get, the more quiet you become. Life humbles you so deeply as you age. You realize how much nonsense you wasted time on. Stop wasting time on bullshit and start thinking positive. Associate with positive people. Leave all that negativity alone. It's not going to get you nowhere. Just looking at the person who delivering the negative attitude. Look at their life. They ain't going nowhere. They all going to hell in a little rowboat. Then hell, I might join them too, but I don't know. Until that given time, I'll just have to wait and see what happens in the end. Like and subscribe, and I thank you for watching. Y'all have a good day. Also, I will not be posting again until Monday due to my Wi-Fi problems. Thank you.